prophetic word of the year 2024.
Das prophetische Wort vom Jahr 2024.
Some countries
Manche Länder
with election this year
mit Wahlen in diesem Jahr
will be visited
werden besucht werden
with new elections law.
Mit neuen Gesetzen zur Wahl.
And other
Und andere
new laws that will not go down well in many nations.
neue Gesetze, die nicht gut angenommen werden in vielen Nationen.
So I see a lot of rioting
Also sehe ich viele Aufstände
in different nations this year,
in verschiedenen Nationen in diesem Jahr.
more especially
Ganz besonders
those nations
diejenigen Nationen,
are having political election,
die eine politische Wahl haben.
or better put, presidential election.
Oder besser gesagt, die eine Präsidentschaftswahl haben.
However,
Jedoch
I see some new governments
sehe ich einige neue Regierungen,
taking over
die übernehmen
and revising old laws
und alte Gesetze überarbeiten,
to help their nation
um ihrer Nation zu helfen,
to move forward.
vorwärts zu gehen.
Our next story comes from Senegal. It is home to about 17 million people. It is part of West Africa and one of its most stable democracies. Senegal is the only West African nation that has never had a military coup. It has never delayed a presidential election. That is, until now. The country was going to polls in 3 weeks, but yesterday lawmakers passed a contentious bill. They extended the tenure of President Macky Sall and pushed elections to December 15th. And just as the postponement was being announced, protesters marched across the capital of Dakar, calling for a reversal and clashing with the police. Now, Senegal faces a critical test of its democratic integrity. Here's a report.
Unrest gripped the parliament, just as violence and clashes erupted right outside. This is the current state of West Africa's last bastion of democracy, Senegal. It's home to about 17 million people. For years, it has been one of the most stable democracies in the usually unstable region of West Africa. Senegal is the only country here that has never had a military coup. It has seen 3 handovers of power. All were largely peaceful. It has never delayed a presidential election. That is, until now. It was supposed to hold elections in 3 weeks, but that wasn't to be. Yesterday, lawmakers passed a contentious bill. They delayed elections by 10 months to the 15th of December and extended the tenure of the current president, Macky Sall. This came after a heated discussion in the parliament. Before the vote, some opposition leaders were removed, and after it, the opposition urged people to protest. They vowed to go to court, calling the delay a constitutional coup.
Senegalese people, you have in front of you the enemies of the nation. They will ask for a contrary opinion on what has just been done. This is a constitutional coup. You should be ashamed.
So just as the bill was being passed inside the parliament, violence erupted outside. Hundreds took to the streets, clashed with the police. Tear gas was fired and access to internet services was restricted.
We deserve freedom. We have been a peaceful country, democratic country, and this president is not allowed to take our freedom just for free.
President Macky Sall cancelled this month's presidential election. He says he's protecting democracy and isn't trying to extend his own term. But his decision is fueling widespread anger. In a district of Dakar named Liberty, protesters showing their defiance. The cancellation of the vote is seen as an injustice. Protesters say once again the powerful are robbing them of the chance to make their own future.
We are in a country where people are mistreated. It's really tough for us. The world needs to understand this. This is a cry from the heart.
I'm a struggling entrepreneur. I have a master's degree. I'm left selling coffee on the streets. There's no work. Jobs are given to those with political connections. We want work. We want to work for our country. Our time has come now.
They're protesting what the opposition is calling a constitutional coup and block an avenue leading to the presidential palace.
Macky Sall was first elected in 2012. He came to power again in 2019. In Senegal, a president serves a term of 5 years and is limited to 2 consecutive terms. Critics claim the polls were postponed for political gain. But Sall has not disclosed ambitions for a 3rd term in office. He reiterated the same this week to calm tempers.
For my part, my solemn undertaking not to stand in the presidential election remains unchanged.
But the people of Senegal are not buying his claim.
Macky Sall must go. The youth of the country gave him power and today he uses force to fight us. This servitude must end.
Now Senegal is on the brink and its democratic credentials hang in the balance. The country is facing a critical test of democratic integrity. And only time will tell if the last bastion of democracy becomes the newest headache of West Africa.